Wonderful people. It is your boy Quabs. I am back with another deck profile. This weekend, I decided to take my Buster Blader deck to locals. I finally got the opportunity to play this deck. I've had some success with it online, so I really wanted to actually try it out live. And I got to say, it did really well. Yes, I did do some misplays, but I mean, that's how you learn. So playing it live really gave me some insight and what I need to focus on. But yeah, Buster Blader with branded and Bestial support. Absolutely crazy. Shout outs to everybody who lent me their cards, especially to Kieran, because literally half the deck is the branded stuff. So thank you so much. Jacques lent me the Bestial stuff. You guys should know him from stream. And then Eric, Moonsong, Pranesh as well for some of the extra deck stuff. Matt, and if I missed anybody, shout outs to you. But yeah, without wasting any more of your time, I'm going to go straight into the deck profile. So we're going to start with the Buster Dragon or Buster Blader stuff, I should say. So for my build, I decided to run 3 Whelp and one Buster Dragon Buster. My bad. It's just confusion. Buster and Dragon and Buster Blader. But yeah, decided to run 3 Whelp, 1 Buster. The 3 Whelp are your searches. So Whelp helps you search into the prologue, your memories, which I will explain later. But these are your destruction sword cards. You can actually search one of the monsters as well, depending on your hand. And this is basically the MVP. You do want to see this in your opening hand. This also allows you to special summon Buster Blader from hand by tributing itself. Almost like a Blackstone of Legend type of thing. And I mean, if you do have that Buster Blader in hand, it is not dead if you do have Whelp. And then obviously Dragon Buster, most of you guys know what Buster Dragon does. It locks your opponent out of their extra deck when equipped. So yeah, so that's for the small dragons. And then I decided to also play 2 Buster Blader, the Destruction Swords Master, and 1 OG Buster Blader. So the difference between the two is that the Sword Master's effect is it has an additional effect. It does become Buster Blader in hand or grave. I mean, on field or grave, but its additional effect is if a monster is destroyed by battle, then you can equip that destroyed monster to it. And then another effect is I can send the equipped monster from my equipped to the graveyard, destroy all monsters with the same type. So essentially, if you don't have the lock but you're able to equip the monster, let's say your opponent is running zombies. You guys know I like zombies. You get rid of the zombie monster, you destroy all zombie monsters on field. For the recent meta, if you do come across tier elements, you can equip the tier element card. If you know you have the advantage, use the Buster's effect, destroy all aquas on field. And if you have the Buster lock, where I'll explain later on, you can essentially just send one of your equips, destroy all dragons. If your opponent's monsters are all dragons, you wipe the entire board, which is actually crazy. And then the OG Buster Blader, you guys know what it does. Just gets 500 attack for each dragon monster on your opponent's side of the field and in their graveyard, which comes in handy sometimes because of the Bestials that are running around. So yeah, that's it for the I think that's it for the Busters. And then we're going to go into the Despia stuff. So with the Despias, I decided to run 2 Aluba. I felt like 3 is a bit too much. 2 came perfectly. I usually either normal summon it depending on my hand, or just special summon it off branded opening. And then the 1 Tragedy. Tragedy is one of those monsters where if you're doing the normal branded Despia play, you guys should know, send it to grave, add a Bestial monster, and then if you banish it, you can also add a branded spell or trap in the graveyard and then set it to your field. So yeah, just one tragedy. And then for the other ones, I decided to play one Dramaturge. Dramaturge didn't come up as often as I thought it would, but the times that it did, it actually did very well. And then Ad Libitum, you guys all know the combo with Ad Libitum and 1 as well. Perfect. And then obviously, what is a branded deck without Fawn of Albaz? So I decided to run 2 and then 1 Albion the Shrouded Dragon. Obviously you want the if I need a dragon engrave, then Albion and then getting the draw as well does come in certain situations. And then the new addition to the Buster Blader deck is the Bestials. 2 Magnamotes and 1 Dressworm. You don't need more. I did not feel like I needed Lubellion for this particular build. I might test Lubellion later on, but this was more than enough. And with the other stuff that I do run in the deck, it just came in clutch. I can actually return this back to deck. I can use this as fusion material as well. Just overall a very good card. So now for the spells, as you know, with a branded version of a deck, you are going to play very heavy branded spells, but I decided to play at least one Destruction Swords card, which was Karma. Karma does come in handy at times depending on the matchup. It is searchable as well. So with Karma, you can target 3 monsters with the same type in your opponent's graveyard, banish them, and if you do, your Buster Blader does gain attack. So that does come in certain situations. If I do have this in hand or set, depending on the game, your opponent does do the T elements play depending on the meta. Activate Karma. I banish 3 of the Aquas. They can't resolve their effects. Also with the Ishizus as well, banish 3 of the fairies and they can't activate their effects. And if a person is playing a specific deck where they have monsters with the same type, it does come in clutch in specific situations. And then obviously for the branded part, I played 3 branded opening, activating it during standby phase, do all the things you need to do just to see if your opponent does have a response. So 3 branded opening, it was probably the MVP of my matches. Just opening this and Whelp, I can go full combo, absolutely insane. And then 3 branded fusion, standard procedure, guys. Everybody knows how the brandeds work in terms of their combos. And then I decided to play 1 branded in red as well, and then the new card, 1 branded regained. What is so nice about this card is, as I was speaking earlier, using branded regained when I do one of my combos allows me to get back one of the dragons I do banish. So I will explain later on in terms of the combos that I do, but branded regained is an absolutely insane card. Can't believe it is actually a super, but yeah, this thing is ridiculous. And then for the somewhat generic spells, because this is a fusion based deck, I have to play 3 Super Poly. Absolutely insane. The amount of times I actually activated this card was ridiculous. It also helps me when I do have a Buster Blader in on field, and I have the Buster Dragon. I can actually use my opponent's monster, because they are dragons, and my Buster Blader to make the fusion absolutely crazy. And then the other generic spells I played was 2 triple tactics. Absolute MVP of this weekend. I never actually used the taking control. I actually used the draw 2. Insane. I think the game at Nexus, there was a time where I opened up triple tactics, drew my 2, had such a good advantage. It came up again, activated triple tactics, drew another 2, closed the game. Incredible. And then the other 2 spells I do play is Cosmic Cyclone, obviously for Mystic Mine. Just draw the outs, guys. Just draw the outs. And then a Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial is either for Tragedy, or in some cases, depending on my hand, I will actually send specific materials I do need for the Buster Blader fusion. So sometimes with the hands that I do have, I do need to maybe put an additional dragon, or put a Buster Blader, or put something else. I could put a Tragedy as well, use Tragedy's effect. And then, Mystic Mine. I don't need to explain that. So for the traps, I play 3 prologues. So prologue's effect is for cost, you send a Destruction Sword card and a Buster Blader monster from your deck to the graveyard, except prologue. So what the combo is, you send, depending on your grave, you would send a Buster Blader, and then you would send either the next trap, which is Destruction Sword Memories, or maybe one of the Destruction Sword monsters if you already have Memories in grave, to special summon Buster Dragon from the extra deck or graveyard, but destroy it during the end phase of the next turn. So the workaround is what you would do is you would go into your branded plays, so you have a dragon, and then prologue, you activate Destruction Sword, activates, because you would send Destruction Sword Memories, and you would send the Buster Blader for cost. So then with Memories, what you do is you'd use Memories effect in grave, banish, use a Buster Blader and a dragon as fusion material to fuse into the Buster Blader fusion. So because this sends for cost, it cannot be ashed, and if your opponent has not locked you into anything, then the specific combo right here with the branded stuff essentially locks your opponent out of their extra deck and activating monster effects, which I'll explain. But yes, I decided to use 2 memories because you don't want to actually draw into memories. Memories becomes almost a dead card in hand. When it's set, you're not guaranteed to have a Destruction Sword card in hand to activate its other effect. It does come in sometimes, but usually you want this in grave. And then the other trap that I do play is Branded Banishment. There's no explanation there. I might change it to Branded Expulsion depending on what happens in the current meta, but I think Branded Banishment is a good card. And yeah, that's it for the traps really. I don't really go heavy into hand traps or anything like that. The only thing that I do side in are board breakers. I feel like if I do actually put hand traps or some sort of interruption, my hand might be kind of weird. And with this format, I feel like rather play more floodgates or more locks, because people can respond to hand traps a lot better now ever since this issues and stuff came out than locks. So yeah, rather play locks for now than hand traps. But yeah, we're gonna go straight into the extra deck. So in the extra deck, it's mostly fusion. I am playing 3 synchros. This might change in the long run, and with the fusions, there are specific cards you do need to be running, but the other ones is up to interpretation depending on your playstyle. So we're first going to start with Buster Blader, the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman. So with this monster, it synergizes with Buster Dragon. So while Buster Blader is on the field, all dragon type monsters your opponent controls switch to defense, right? And dragon monsters in your opponent's possession, keyword, in your opponent's possession, cannot activate their effects. So if you have this on field, maybe you don't have Buster Dragon, but if you have this on field, your opponent cannot activate Bestial from hand because they are dragons. So you can essentially kill your opponent's Bestial plays. Their Bestial monsters become dead. Also, if they do get sent to grave, their Bestial effects do not activate, like Druid's Worm. If they were able to maybe normal summon, which is highly unlikely, they would normal summon a Bestial monster, it just switches to defense. Absolutely nuts. This does have piercing damage and it gains 1,000 for each dragon monster on your opponent's field and in grave. So this can get really beefy. If your opponent has 2 dragon monsters, it is currently on for 8. If they have the Bestials in grave as well, that's more. And if you got the whole Buster Dragon lock, then it becomes pretty crazy. But yeah, only 2, never thought I needed 3. Alright, for the branded part, I do play 2 Albion and 1 Lubellion. Don't really need 2 Lubellion because it does go back to the extra deck. If it so happens to get banished for some reason or it's left on field, I can actually add it back. There are situations where I've used Branded Regained, its banish effect, to actually return it to the deck and draw a card. Because if I have Memories Engraved and I have a Buster Blader, I can use Lubellion and use Buster Blader to fusion summon into my Buster Blader fusion, and then I just return Lubellion with Branded Regained. So yeah, I didn't feel like I needed more. And then for the other fusions, I obviously do play Mary Jade as well. Played 1 Despian Queritus. Came in 1 game. I didn't know what else to put, so Queritus was the one option that I thought would be better out of the other fusions that I was considering. But yeah, Despian Queritus, Masquerade as well, also good, especially if you know your opponent has to build up for his board. I've noticed that some of the runic matchups that I've had, some of the matchups with tier elements, they essentially do have to build up. So seeing life points like being reduced as well, and you still have to go through the board of a Buster Blader fusion and or a extra deck lock, you're going to have to use a lot of resources. So Masquerade did come in clutch in a few matches. And then for the other fusions, it's mostly branded red or super poly targets. So Guardian Chimera, crazy, absolutely crazy. The thing is with Guardian Chimera, if you have the normal Buster, the Buster lock, and then you Chimera your opponent after, there's pretty much nothing they can do. Yes, I'm really flexing on this deck. I'm so proud of how well I did in this deck with this deck. But Guardian Chimera, pretty crazy. If you time it right and you got your Buster lock, you got game. And then Dragostapelia super poly target. It did come in 1 game, but I already had the advantage, so didn't really worry. And then there's Albalinitus. Albalinitus is actually a very funny card, especially with the Buster Blader. So if you have Buster Dragon and you so happen to not have the Buster Blader fusion, Alba Linitus is you can contact fuse using Fawn of Albaz and 1+ dragons. So your opponent has a lot of monsters on the field. You normal summon Fawn of Albaz, but you don't activate its effect. You contact fuse your opponent's entire board to summon Alba Linitus. Nuts. Absolutely nuts. Just clears an opponent's board just like that. And I mean, if your opponent is able to get more monsters on the board, Alba Linitus can attack each monster depending on the amount of materials used for its fusion summon. Contact fuse. Absolutely crazy. One of the MPVs. One of the MVPs. And then the one card I did use in AI, which is the blank card here, was Starving Venom. Came in once or twice. And then I decided to use Garura at Nexus. Also, there was a time where it popped up. But yeah, it's all up to interpretation. That's why I did leave it blank here. You could maybe add something else depending on your specific locals. So the last space, it's all up to interpretation. And then for the synchros, not a big synchro lineup. It is 2 Buster Dragon, 1 Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. Easy to summon out. What you do is, if you already have the advantage, your opponent isn't able to do anything, what you'll do is you'll actually synchro off using Buster Dragon and one of your level 1 your destruction swords, because they are tuners. You'll go into Hot Red, but please bear in mind, I did make this mistake on Sunday. Make sure you have game. Don't leave your opponent on little life points, especially in this format. I left my opponent at 1,000, thinking that I had game, and he was able to come back. Fortunately, my hand was still pretty good, but if my hand was not as good, I would have lost that game. So yeah, please keep that in mind, guys. Rather keep the lock on. Even if Buster Dragon does leave the field, you still have that extra deck lock. So yeah, gotta say, still Hot Red Dragon, still an awesome card. I would not add anything else. I think the Buster Dragon at 2 and the Hot Red at 1, absolutely perfect. But yeah, guys, that is your deck profile. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please comment on any suggestions, what you thought of the deck, and if you want to see more deck profiles. I am planning on playing this more often than usual. I've decided to park the zombie deck for now. Doesn't mean that the zombie deck is dead. But yeah, I am going to be playing this, and there will be another deck that I am going to play in the future. But yeah, keep an eye on that. If you guys like the video, obviously hit the like. If you guys aren't subscribed, I don't know why. Subscribe. And yeah, it's been your boy Quabs. Thanks for watching. Peace.
All right. I feel alive, yeah. Look at me racing the time. Bitches that I'm putting on to the side. I don't owe you nothing, did it? Put a ring on your finger, I was passing the time, yeah. Hated I started with that, but anyway, niggas still on the grind. Told you that I'm coming for what is mine. Got a couple of them pages in my head, find a way to take it straight to the heart. Dotted line, I'm the bigger artist. Got my niggas that gotta play a big